at the strike of the bells, at the strike of the bells. So I was looking for somewhere to do my live, and I thought while there was 2 police officers off doing their little patrols, or probably not arresting somebody, I thought I would use the opportunity to take my live here. It's a loading bay, and obviously so it's loading only. So being that it's loading only, so we're talking about 2-tier policing, plus we're talking about 2-tier government, plus people on Saturday obviously still have continued to meet in the square here in Portsmouth. You are dealing with a society that is absolutely loaded with trauma. And the reason that people have trauma is because of this very service. Now, at the end of the day, this service actually has 2. One is criminal and one is welfare. They need to show the difference between criminal and welfare. They have a legal duty to do welfare checks. That means that they're allowed to come and knock on your door and say that there has been cause for concern, and it may be that you're an adult, it may be that you're a child, it might be because, you know, you've been through an assault, you've been through an attack, and they do welfare checks. Now, we have this thing called victim support. The guy who broke my gag in London and also was here in, so just for those that are coming on, this is live, it's not edited, it's not scripted. I am just literally outside Portsmouth train station. So this is Portsmouth train station. I'm going to be going up to Portsmouth, the other side of it, stalking a particular journalist until I track her down, because I know she's here in Portsmouth and she gets the train every day from Portsmouth to London to the studio. And I'm going to see if I can go on a train journey with her to talk about the fact that I've now had the results from my scan that show that what this system, so POLICE, it means police. Papa, Oscar, Lima, Indigo, Charlie, Echo, police. Now, at the moment, a lot of people have got trauma because of the police. At the moment, their car may radio up that it's me. I've got a different cap on and a different jacket on, so they might be a little bit curious on who it is, and then the police may go, oh, it's Kelly. But they're not allowed to do that because that's personal. The relationship with service providers and service users has a very, very, very fine line, because these are not your friends. These are information gatherers and witnesses to proceedings. I don't know if that is a correct terminology. That is my opinion, that is what the police are for. I have absolutely no reason, or sorry, not no reason, no, what's the word, no understanding for why this police car is here. Now let's talk about the presence of police. Tomorrow, I'm going to a meeting at my local community centre where I'm just going to try and move where there's no light, but I also want to get the fact that, shall I scare them and come and sit right here in front of the fucking police station, police car. So, my point for this live is that I have trauma, and people can sit there and go, okay, Kelly, let's talk about your mental health. So, talking about my mental health, so at the end of the day, a move is one of the most stressful things to go through, other than a divorce, murder, things like that. So I've moved. The police agreed to a managed move with the council on the basis that I was being stalked, but we didn't know by who. Hampstead hoax programme on Channel 4 came out earlier on. Hey there, Karen, I can just see you on the live there. I haven't got glasses on, so I can't see, and obviously I am what's called shadow banned. I've only just been given my Facebook back, and since the elections for our UK elections, I'd been completely shut down on Facebook. And obviously, as you know, intermittently over the last sort of 10-15 years, I've been gagged. So it's not the police that gag you, but they can enforce the law. Now, I'm trying to make a decision about whether I'm going to speak at the next event here in Portsmouth. The difficulty is when I'm speaking here on a video live, people can comment and people can interact with me. But out there with people, it's very different. If you saw my live the other day, I showed you Saturday's protest or whatever it is, meeting, congregation that was here in Portsmouth. I don't know if you're aware, because the main media such as the BBC, British Broadcasting, whatever you want to call it, brainwashing, will not talk about these particular things on the news. I am unvaccinated, as you know, and I took a lot of shit from people because of my decision to not be vaccinated and to not proceed to be locked down. I've always been locked down. I've always taken my hour exercise, gone to the local shop, done the necessities. I've always been socially fucking arrogant and distant. I've always sort of been that way. I said tonight I was going to come down to Guildhall and try to get some stuff off my chest. I'm laughing because obviously Tommy, aka Stephen, Tommy Robson, committal to prison, or whatever his court date thing is the 28th of October. As people know, my committal to prison was the 28th of October 2013, and Tommy has left the country scared of facing being put into prison. Now, me, as a mum who has had my children taken and proceeded to seek help, basically. So once you enter into the court remit, it's a closed or an open court, either way. I'm just sitting down on the floor, but I'm wondering whether said Mr. Policeman's are going to come round the corner just yet, and I want to at least be off my feet. I might actually stay sat down there. I feel all right sat down there next to the police car, to be honest. It's all right. There's nobody in it. So at the end of the day, that's just a police car. It's just a car, isn't it? It's just a car that somebody's basically pimped up. And you could have that program, couldn't you, where you can just pimp your car up. It says police, it's got a website, the car has even got its own little collar identity number. And then we've got these police that put these navy uniforms on, that put this little number on that says that this is their police number, and they're allowed to plod around, and they are here to protect and serve the people. If that was the case, we wouldn't be talking about letting anybody, Tom, Dick and Harry, into our home, yeah? So if I said to you, open your doors because we're letting loads of people in, and you're to open your door to a complete stranger, you would say no. Now, at the end of the day, when people cross on a plane or a normal stage boat, things like that, they have passports, they have documents. Now, a lot of people can say, Kelly, you go on about the straw man, you go on about passports and birth certificates and how this is part of the system. But I also say this is how you understand the monopoly of the system as well. Because if you don't understand how passport works, you don't understand your birth certificate and your banking and all of that, then you're not going to function in said ways of the world. It's not to be in the world, not to be of the world, but in the world. Not in the world, but of the world. Not here to change the Bible or anything. I'm just, as I said, unscripted. I have no little box in front of me that I read from. Now, my point being is people are talking about freedom of speech. Now, a lot of you will go, oh, Kelly, why have you not been taken down? You've just mentioned the word COVID. You've just said certificate of vaccination identification. You've just talked about COVID-19, geoengineering, and you're not being taken down. That's because it's come out. And it is coming out. And there are official court cases about the vaccination and vaccination injury. And there are mighty investigations. But at the end of the day, times have changed. Times have changed from the last 10 years, the last 20 years, the last 30 years. And people are only just seeing the repercussions of things that have gone on, such as surrogacy. We're seeing a lot of children that were born to surrogacy standing and saying, look, surrogacy shouldn't be allowed. It's not a great environment for children. You're having a lot of children that were raised within a gay community told at the end of the day, it wasn't the greatest environment for them to grow up in. People with dysfunctional families, all that sort of, just trying not to get people on camera. I'm not one of them stormy people that goes around and showing people on camera, but this is a public police car. So, and a lot of people can say, oh, but Kelly, you can't film said police officers. There's no police officers in the car. They're not sitting in the car. Now, will they come along in a bit and say what you're doing? No, because just literally the other side where that bike's coming through. Literally under the bridge, right on your left if it's open. If not, then it's the other side of the square, but that one usually. My point being, there's two definitions. I'm not talking about two-tier policing as in what people are talking about in terms of different cultures. I'm talking about two-tier policing when you're talking about criminal and care. So when you're talking about welfare checks. So then you come into the said thing of child protection. Child protection is ran off of the police, whereas social services is the council building over there. And this is where the system is going massively wrong. And just to remind you why the riot started in the first place, that was because they took a child from a Bangladeshian family. It was the Bangladeshian community that came together to say, return our child. The Bangladeshian community got them children back. They got them back. So to the white Westerners that are still out there saying, save our children, learn something from the Bangladeshians that they got their children back. Said, as I said on my previous live, about being triggered off every time Victorious is on in Portsmouth because of where I sat during Victorious when I'd recently just had Elijah. I'm trying to move around where I haven't got like a floodlight behind me, but I've also got the police car behind me. That's better. There you go. No? Here. I'm in a loading bay. I just want to make sure that I've obviously got the police car behind me for the reason of the said live. Because at the end of the day, what I'm talking about is how the police detain and arrest somebody. At the end of the day, if I was stood here right now, and don't forget, is it 1,200 prisoners have been released today and I'm a woman out on the streets? That's fear. But it's also a reality that there are scared people. Now, some of them could be protesters, and that could be anything back to the protesters that were gluing themselves to train stations, banks, museums, art galleries, whatever it was. And a lot of people have been released. At the end of the day, they're not going to be releasing Salvador, what he calls himself now. I can't remember. You're right. I can't remember what he used to be called, Charlie Bronson. So they're not going to be releasing the likes of Charlie Bronson, but they are going to be releasing protesters and things like that. Portsmouth's a very peaceful place. It really is. It's getting back into student time. We'll get a lot of smashed glass back on the floor, but it will be predominantly the students out, glass bottles get knocked over, things like that. They say there are a lot of assaults. People don't see that. Now back to the presence of the police. Does the presence of the police make people feel safer? Does the presence of the police make people feel safe? Does the presence of the police reduce crime? And how do you measure the presence of the police? And for somebody else who's just come in, obviously there is a police car. I predominantly talk about the fact that I was raising awareness for hypermobility EDS and families like me. Now, at the end of the day, say I had epilepsy and I was a mother, this is where welfare checks could come in. As a mother with an emergency situation, you have a thing called lifeline phones that attach to the council. So if you're at home, this is to the elderly as well, if you're at home, you can have an alarm that goes off that alerts your first point of call. This is on the basis that you have adult social care. Now, I know the difference in these systems because I have managed to go to university as an adult, as a mum, as a mature student, as a single mum, with the assistance and help of adult social care. And I've achieved that. But then I've seen the complete flip difference when you're medically represented, haven't got medical notes, and it's just a complete shambles, but nobody wants to admit that they've made a mistake because they become liable, therefore they become suable. At the end of the day, there's two girls over there. If a man attempted to drag one of them and rape them, you would want to know that she would be able to put an alert on her phone and ring the police. I mean, I ask this question if the people that are listening to this live and do want to comment and do want to get me back out and stuff, I'm just coming on in little bits and things. Hello there, Charlie. I'm just down outside Guildhall at the moment. I am live, and I'm just talking about the presence of the police and how the police have two. I'm not talking about two-tier like they're talking about. I'm talking about police who are dealing with criminals, but police that are dealing with welfare checks and child protection. And the difficulty in the system. I understand from a friend of mine at the moment that she actually is working with the services and she's getting to see a families officer or family worker or something. So there are these things within the system, but when you hit child protection, and like me, I've been really, really lucky. I'm in cognitive dissonance with Portsmouth Police at the moment and Hampshire Police because they're sort of part of the same thing. Portsmouth is an island on its own and we've got our own Portsmouth Police, but at the end of the day they're governed by Hampshire and Isle of Wight Constabulary, which is basically the whole of Hampshire, which is a massive, massive big area to cover. These guys that were demoing on Saturday were arguing about borders and saying that borders are the problem, we shouldn't have borders. And I want to say this at the protest, but I know I'll probably get eggs and tomatoes and flour fucking thrown at me when I, even say there's only two genders. That's going to cause enough problems anyway. When I try telling people that it was weather warfare, that's going to cause for people to think I'm fucking crazy. And when I say that children are being trafficked at a massive scale and in a massive way, people don't want to hear about it. So at the end of the day, we need to clean our country up, or people need to fuck off and leave. But at the end of the day, who are the ones that are actually out here? Who are the ones that are out here picking up the litter from the people that can't be asked, putting something in the bins? Who are the ones that are out here emptying the bins so people can put things in the bins? Who are the ones that are out here with the shops open? That's not government, that's private sector companies. Would you want to be solitary, governed by ownership? And do people even understand the difference with communism, Jews, Muslims, Christians and all this stuff? And it's not really even about that. We do need borders. We do need boundaries. There has to be courtesy. There has to be etiquette. There has to be some form of mutual understanding in common spaces. And that's no different than going to a skate park. And when you go to a skate park, there's a common courtesy that how somebody uses the ramps, and you get to know the rules. You get to know the rules of the game. As an English white woman who's travelled to many countries, including places like Egypt, I know that there is a very different culture, and in some places very scary, to be honest, especially traveling as a single woman and especially traveling as a single mother. A single parent, obviously wasn't a single mother, but I was a single parent. There's a difference. Somebody's just looked at me strange that I'm getting away with speaking in front of the police car. They're clearly fucking busy somewhere, you know. Either there's been somebody shoplifting in there and they're sat in there, or they're having a walk around the park, or they've shot off into town for a bit to have a beadle around town. They won't be far from their car, they never are. But sometimes it's just about their presence, isn't it? Instead of having the car parked up there by the station, literally just having it here is stopping people whizzing around the corner. It's stopping people maybe coming through a little bit din low. Whoa, 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 the police, you know. But that's the problem, isn't it? It's like a speed camera. And all them people that speed around, as soon as they see the speed camera, they go, whoa, 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 and they slow down. That's not going to fix the problem. That's not going to change people. That's not going to change people to have an attitude towards this country or any other country or island, whatever you want to call bricks and mortar, and you know, all the things that create what we call planet Earth. The police need districts, they need borders, they need some form of, you know, like a position, because there's only so many of them. I've got a live on, so it's speaking. You won't want it on it. As in, it's on YouTube. Yeah, you won't want your voice on YouTube. The best bet is the top of town. Oh no, hang on a minute, because I don't want to send you in the wrong place. The best, yeah, that's open. I'm sure that's open. So, right, let me carry on. Sorry, literally, when people are out on the streets, it's beggars and borrowers and people who want to get a drink and all that sort of stuff. My point being, when does somebody have a right to say that they have cause and concern for another person? If I had had an accident on my skates and had fallen down and cracked my head either on the pavement, I would hope that a citizen or a bystander would come and ask me if I was okay. I would like to think that somebody would not walk past and leave somebody in that state, even if it's drunk. So then there has to be a service. There has to be a service available. I walked a young lad home the other day who'd been assaulted on the park. But at the end of the day, there needs to be some form of system that comes in when things go wrong. And I think that's what we need to be talking about. Instead of people arguing over who should be in this country and who shouldn't be, we need to be looking at the facilities and the infrastructures in all of our countries. And just even our education system. All of this that will all be out now will all build up to university students. You get your first years. We go through it every year with the first years. You know, they're away from home for the first time. They're in a little bit of a safe place. They've got new friends. And every year we go through the same thing with a new set of students. And that's just life here in Portsmouth. That's just life in any university city. Which is why I'm glad to not live in the city anymore. I love it. So, but anyway, tomorrow I am going to meet with a police officer. I am going back in terms of the community side, and also because it's these meetings that cause for police to attempt to information gather on people that they have on their radar. Now, with Tommy Robson, aka Stephen, announcing that he is going to march again on the 26th because his committal to prison or his court case is on the 28th, then people are not quite sure what relationship I have with him. To be honest, I don't have any. Tommy, he didn't stand by me. I wasn't assaulted by anybody of different nature, and it was of only my own skin flesh color that caused me that issue. So he wasn't interested, and nobody really has understood me, got me, or believed me. It's only going to be when I put these scan results up, and I'm just literally building up to it, because during all of me on social media being shut down, so I was shut down on everything. I haven't been on Twitter for ages. I hope Elon Musk does come in and buy Facebook, because that would be really interesting, because I would come up as somebody that really got smashed by Facebook, and was I really disinformation? And they will find that, and they will find me. In terms of my anger, where's it up to at the moment? I'm dealing with it. Once I can sit there and start writing and getting this back out and addressing the people and letting people know, hey, you were wrong, I'll feel a lot better, and I will. So I'll take it from there. I was hoping that the police might come out and give me an opportunity to speak to them, but I don't think so. You're all right. I was only moving away so I don't get your voice on my live. So, sounds really bad when someone comes towards you and you move away, and it's like, oh, you know, it's obviously street drug people out. It's the times of the night time, isn't it? When the big bad wolf comes out and the ghouls under the bed. But we've got police present, but we haven't. But even say a police officer, I know what they're doing. They don't. But even if a police officer had cause and suspicion of somebody committing a crime, and they have obviously the powers for a stop and search, my point is, at what point does it become a double-edged sword? So on one video I was watching, a woman had been spat at, but she wasn't allowed to say a derogatory comment. So if a police officer handled me and pulled me down to the ground, I can't fight back in the same way as if a bunch of lads did that. And this is the difficulty, and this is the line that I think needs to be talked about, because if somebody is raping and pillaging children and you're only forced to go in is said police or military, they have to detain these people. They have to get them to the floor. And there is only really one way to do that. It's brutal, it's horrible, it's not nice to see. But for somebody like me, who's just been trying to explain that I was just a mum who didn't have childcare, and I really don't trust people with my children because of what I've been through, not because it really bothers me what I went through, but because it bothers me that, you know, I don't trust people with when it comes to my children staying or going off with others. And the incident with the lad, and he was 12, you know, just proves that I'm right. You know, would I let my children come out and roam the streets? Of course not. So anyway, I don't know where the police are tonight. I am going to quickly go up through the town and back round, but it's only because I'm literally out on my skates. Dean's at home, well, not home, we don't live together, and this is part of the battle. But obviously he's here to spend some time with the boys. He tries with me constantly, but at the end of the day, people didn't believe me. And when the website stuff was going on, people thought it was me doing it, and it hurts. And I'll forgive in my own time, but I'm not ready to do so yet. And I just want to get my life back on track. I just want to get back to my training. Nobody's added the right to say whether I do or don't have the condition that I've got. Nobody's got the right to have a go at me whether I work self-employed or don't work or do work. But from now, I am in rehabilitation for a year, and nobody can have a go at me for that. So for me, it's about getting that schedule right. But I am going to go tomorrow, and I do need to respond to these guys. But I am going to be turning up at one of the protests. I'm just talking to Joe at the moment. on how we're going to do this without me getting arrested, because at the end of the day, when Aaron and Faith were taken, I had nothing to lose. I'd had Aaron and Faith taken. I've got Elijah and Shiloh at home, and I have a life again, nearly, sort of. It's a bit difficult to rebuild when said you haven't got your family and friends around you that you're used to having in your life, and especially for somebody like me, because Liam and Daniel had been my life for my whole adulthood, really. Aaron and Faith were only 2 and 3. Liam and Daniel were 13 and 16. So that's a massive big chunk of my life to just have interrupted, just because these get a call from an anonymous person because of Facebook, and all of a sudden I've not got my family anymore. And it's not the public that needs to pay for it, and it's not even the police as a whole general. It's individuals that made a mistake, you know, and they need to learn, and through that people will become more aware of hypermobility, they'll become more aware of genetic mutation, and people will become more aware of vaccination damage, and realise lockdown was planned. And all I tried to do was try to warn people, not even warn people, but to just try to prepare people that they were going to do this upgrade whether you liked it or not, and nobody's going to stop these sort of pioneers. No politician's going to stop them. I mean, just look at the buses. That's what you've got since lockdown. The electric scooters, the bikes and stuff. Some of that's been around for years and years and years. The Western world needs a fucking kick up the arse. It does. Even this car is a hybrid. You know, so that upgrade was going to get done, and I was at the forefront of a lot of the technology because of having a spinal injury. You know, do we want AI in the world? Do we want to completely disconnect? At the end of the day, if it wasn't for my phone right now, I couldn't stand here in the centre of Portsmouth and connect live. And if I want to world school with the boys, the only way I'm really going to be able to do that and make money and an income is by the utilisation and monetisation of social media platforms, by being able to do videos of different cities that we're in, different places, museums. The thing that I started, because I was at the forefront of social media when it was back in MySpace and MSN and all that sort of stuff, it was about sunrise, sunset and memories in the middle. Having Aaron and Faith taken changed everything. And then at the end of the day, all of a sudden, Dean and Tracy Morris and Amber come into my life, and things changed course dramatically, and I've been stalked, harassed and bullied ever fucking since. So yeah, I'm interested where the police are now. They've left their car for a very long time, haven't they? I'm assuming they're off trying to detain somebody. Do you reckon maybe they've lost their keys? So no, they'll be about somewhere. They've just been moseying about, having a walk round, going down to the clubs and stuff like that. But I thought they had to be a certain area. They could even be going to somebody in the hotel. At the end of the day, what the police are doing is nobody's business, and it's exactly the same as government. What we do with our lives is actually really none of their business. This comes back to tax and tithing. Government's only interested in if you're working, you're paying your taxes, and as long as you're paying your taxes and your bills, that's it. So, but I don't want to live like that. Council tax is the next thing I'm going to be talking about soon. I'm going to show people if they do need to get council tax support, and it isn't just about fucking it off. It's about being able to just pay your bills and get on with your life, not even think about it. I started this because of financial freedom, or not even financial freedom, just people being in line with who they actually are, what they wanted to do, and how to make money out of it, basically doing what you love. And I want to get back to that. So anyway, I'm going to go and have a skate. I'm glad the police have let me use their car. Maybe they'll take me for a run in it and show me some real criminals, so we can get on with, you know, stopping children being taken and put through foster care. And just before I go, a little short that I had done from a couple of years ago came up about foster Portsmouth. And I said, are these people going to understand the consequences of their actions soon and do these? When they take children and they put them in foster care, and then you've got loads of 15, 16-year-olds out selling drugs, and you look back and you wonder why. You wonder why. So anyway, today's today. I'm going to go home in a sec and put my feet up, chill, see what goes on. And tomorrow's another day. I've got an appointment, see if I turn up. I missed my chiropractor today. I rescheduled twice. But some bad timing, even with my fall. And Dean was turning up in the morning to have the boys and then didn't get there till the afternoon. Fuck knows where he was travelling from. I don't even ask anymore. I just get into arguments that I don't know. None of my business. So yeah, to Aaron and Faith, hopefully one day I'll see you soon. And to Liam and Daniel, you know, I just needed chiropractor to go to the gym and have a bit of a social life and be the best mum I could have been, and that's it. It's as simple as that. So anyway, to those that are there, I can't read the messages at the moment. I can see them. I'll have a read when I get home and have a look on comments and things like that. I just hope that tomorrow you're getting up to focus on building your life, your schedule on your terms and on your timing. And have a look at your terms and conditions, what your terms and conditions are for your life. And maybe that's what we're going to work on for coming into Home for Christmas. And Home for Christmas, I hope really this is the Christmas that people get to go home. I don't know. The quicker I get a laptop, the better. I can't do much on my phone. And I can take it from there. So, yeah. Live strong. And I'll let you know when I'm going to be here in Portsmouth, but I'm going to be putting forward back to what this should be about and what the people are saying about save our kids, what I say children. It's the ones that are being taken, and we need to do that. So let's get that done. Anyway, it's getting cold. Summer's really fucking over. It's getting chilly.